Solving quadratic equations, what we mean by quadratic is it's got an x squared in there. When solving quadratic equations, there's three different methods that we can use. If we can get x squared by itself, the first method is pretty easy. It's pretty much just like what we've been doing. We're going to get rid of minus 5 by adding 5. So 6x squared is 54. We're going to get rid of times 6 by dividing by 6. We're going to get rid of squares by doing the opposite. The opposite of squares, we got to be cautious. The opposite of a square is actually plus and minus the square root. So our answers are a positive or a negative 3. So most of these are going to have two answers. Next one, the exact same thing. To get rid of plus 6, we're going to subtract 6. And we now have negative 3, parentheses, x minus 5 squared equals negative 21. To get rid of the negative 3, we'll divide. So x minus 5 squared equals 7. Now notice the trend. Notice what we're doing on all these. We always get rid of the stuff on the outside and leave the inside stuff. To get rid of the inside stuff, well, first we got to get rid of the square. So that's going to be x minus 5 equals. To get rid of a square, we do plus and minus the square root of the other side. We don't know the square root of 7, we can leave it. If it's something we can simplify, we can try to simplify and try to split it. We can. Last step, move the 5 over, and you got your answer. 5 plus and minus root 7. Another method that we need to know to solve these quadratics is you can, if you remember factoring, two sets of parentheses. To factor this quadratic, we ask what adds to give you negative 6, multiplies to give you 8. That's going to be a negative 2 and a negative 4. And this is one of the whole purposes of why we factor, is so we can solve these quadratic equations. We're going to use what's called the zero product property. If two things multiply to give you 0, this number over here always has to be 0. If two things multiply to give you 0, one of them's got to be 0. So either x minus 2 is 0 or x minus 4 is 0. You can split it. Once you split it, solve it like we have been. This is now linear. Minus 2 turns into plus 2 when you move it over. Minus 4 turns into plus 4 when you move it over. There's your two answers. We'll work one more like that. Two sets of parentheses. X and x adds, multiplies. It'll be a negative 12 and a negative 3. Either this is 0 or this is 0. Move the 12 over, gives you x is 12. Move the 3 over, gives you x is 3. Now, these equations can also be solved with my method. Let me remind you of my method if you've never seen it. So my method is this. Okay, it's a little formula that takes the place of what we call the quadratic formula, a little bit easier. And here's how we do it. We draw a little man figure here. His left leg, we're going to take this middle number, which is negative 6, take the opposite of it and half of it. Take that number, and for his right leg, we're going to simply multiply that number times itself. You see here his arms. And in order to create his head here, we're just going to multiply this A and this C together, and it gives us 8. So there's your three numbers that you're needing. Final answer, we're going to do his left leg, plus and minus the square root of these two numbers subtracted. 9 minus 8 is 1. We're going to divide the whole thing by this number. If it's a 1, we really don't have to put it because anything divided by 1 is just itself. So our two answers are 3 plus and minus the square root of 1, which is 1. So our two answers are 3 plus 1 and 3 minus 1. Let's work number 5 the same way. Left leg, right leg, head. Left leg is opposite half. Right leg is that number times itself. Head is this number times this number. His left arm times his right arm, which is negative 6. Final answer. Left leg, plus and minus the square root of these two numbers subtracted. 36 minus negative 6 is 42, all divided by this number, if it's not 1. Square root of 42, you can try to simplify it. It won't. There's nothing that multiplies that you know the square root of, so you're done. Final answer. Do another one. Left leg, right leg, opposite half, multiply it times itself. Multiply these two numbers to get his head, that's negative 10. Final answer, negative 1, plus and minus the square root of the difference, so the square root of those two numbers subtracted, all divided by this number. And again, square root of 11 does not reduce. Let's go back and show you what happens if you have an odd number in the middle. Okay, there is an extra step that makes this a little bit easier. If the middle number is odd, you can actually double all three of these numbers, and I'm just going to write them over to the side. 2, -30, and 72. If you double them all and then do the exact same thing, you don't have to worry about changing your answer or anything like that. The answer works out for you. Opposite half times itself. Head is the product of those two. Final answer, left leg plus and minus the square root of the difference. That's going to be 81. And since we know the square root of 81, you actually can just put what it's equal to, and then all divided by this number. So your two answers are 15 plus 9 divided by 2, 15 minus 9 divided by 2, or 12 and 3. That's your two answers. Now, this also takes care of when you're dealing with imaginary numbers. Let's see if we have any of these problems that have imaginaries. Now, number 7 here. Let's combine our like terms first. Anytime you move a term, you simply do its opposite. So to move 2x, we're going to do minus 2x. To move minus 9, you're going to do plus 9. There's what you've got. Since the middle number is odd, let's double them all. 1, -5, and 9 turns into 2, -10, and 18. Left leg, right leg are opposite half. Multiply it times itself, and then his head is 36. And we will end up with, and I can tell right off the bat, the difference of those two numbers are going to be negative. So that shows me that I'm going to be dealing with imaginary numbers here. So here's my final answer. 5 plus and minus the square root of the difference. When you subtract 25 minus 36, that gives you the square root of -11, all divided by 2. So if you remember correctly, anytime you have the square root of a negative, you can split that. And the square root of a negative is I, so we can write this as 5 plus and minus I root 11, all divided by 2.